The PC Master Race. My gosh, my friends. Nvidia has got you exactly right where they want you. So I've been reading some Reddit about the new Super Series that are coming out. And I must admit, even I am already starting to FOMO for a new Nvidia card because that 4070, yeah, man. Gosh, I feel your pain. I do. So let's talk about this. Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we're going to talk about this whole nonsense that's going on right now. So I've been on Reddit, looking around, just you know, kind of getting, kind of trying to read the room about how everybody's feeling. And this is like, I kind of feel like we get to this point every single time. All the Nvidia bros out there right now in the Reddits and everywhere else, they're like, oh man, these prices need to be cheaper. They need to like just coming up with like these weird pricing schemes that like, yeah, man, there's no way the benevolent Nvidia is gonna charge us more than $600 for the 4070 Super. They all have this like wishful thinking. They're even trying to think that benevolent Nvidia is gonna come out and drop them a 4080 Super for $999. Listen to the delusionalness of that. They put the regular 4080 out for $1,200. Do you really think they're gonna give you a slightly more powerful 4080 for $200 off? They're just gonna be all nice all of a sudden? They're like, no, man, you don't understand. Nvidia is not there to be your friend. Nvidia's way of making money and getting us all to FOMO, they've already got me FOMOing. They've already got me thinking like, ooh, dang, man, if they really do come out with a 4070 Ti with 16 gigs of RAM, VRAM, and on the same die as the 4080, heck yeah, man, that sounds interesting. Like I'm not even joking. I said I wasn't going to buy anything this year, but I'm already in the process, mind-wise, of like putting together like the path to making this happen, and how am I going to talk my wife into this? And you know, like it's not that I have to talk her into it. It's just I told her that like, look, man, we're not going to buy any more stuff. I'm going to get the 4070. We're going to do this thing. But every time I put that 4070 back in my PC, it doesn't. I can't do it. Like I can't do it. I'll go to record a video, you know, just to do like my normal videos or something, and it'll come out all twitchy like it did with the controller the other day. And then it starts to frustrate me because then I'll get into a game and I'll start to get like the Nvidia stutter, you know, like every GPU stutters, obviously. It's not just, you know, a one-off thing, you know, it's certain games don't run as good as other games on everything. And if you're going to sit and say that AMD is trash and they stutter and all of that stuff, and completely ignore the fact that I would say, I wouldn't say it's like, I would say it's about, I honestly would say it's about even. Like there are games that I'll play on Nvidia that are just stuttering messes, and then there are games that not... Yeah, there's, I mean, like, I'm getting, like, stuttering problems with Forza Motorsport with the AMD cards. It's not as bad on the Nvidia card. There's some other games that, like, if I'm using ray tracing, I'll get stuttering on the AMD card, whereas, I mean, even on the Nvidia card on some of those games, like Hogwarts Legacy and stuff. But it's one of those things where, like, I've come to the realization that, like, PC's not perfect. It's not perfect. Like, you're going to have games that are going to freaking be phenomenal, and then you're going to have games that are just going to run like crap. It doesn't matter what GPU you're using. Like, it doesn't matter. But when I get... And see, the biggest problem is I have a 7900 XT. I have a 7800 XT, and I have a 4070. So right when the Nvidia stuff starts to happen, I'm like, oh man, I'm just going back to my 7800 XT because it really does have better performance across the board on most games when you're just using the rasterized, when you're just using rasterized and you're not worried about like ray tracing or anything like that. And so it automatic, or if I have problems, you know, like doing like recordings or something, man, and they start coming out all blocky and stuttery and stuff like that, it just gets frustrating to the point where it's like, gosh dang, it puts this image in my head that like the 4070 just isn't it's not as well rounded as the 7800 or the 7900 XT, and that's a fair assumption because it's not. It's clearly cut down. The Nvidia way, they cut it down so that they can sell you a 4070 Super, or so they can get you to upgrade to a 4070 Ti, or that they can get you to always think, you know, like, oh man, well, if I'm already spending $600, I might as well just jump over and get, I might as well just jump over and get, you know, spend a couple $100 more and get something else. Hold on a minute. I gotta tell my wife I'm recording so she doesn't keep calling back. So it's one of those things where if you're already spending a certain amount of money, and this is like the thing that the theme that I've seen when it comes to Nvidia is that you're so programmed with the Nvidia thing, because all the negativity about AMD being garbage and being trash. It's only been like the last little while that like other, you know, like you're actually hearing more positivity about AMD. You're hearing more positivity, and that's because AMD, these 7000 series GPUs, the 6000 series GPUs are absolutely incredible, and they do hold their own against the Nvidia counterparts. And so you are starting to see like people not being able to deny that anymore, and it's getting harder and harder and harder for these same content creators to try to justify recommending you buy an Nvidia GPU over an AMD one. And the mental gymnastics that I see these guys going through to try to convince you that ray tracing or DLSS or some of these other things are better, so you're better off just having that and taking the hit on everything else just to have those two things, because you would rather have, you know, like the magic to fill in the gaps. Well, here's the thing, man, like AMD is definitely better. I feel like the experience is just as stable or more stable than what you get on the Nvidia cards. And when I bought the 7900 XT, I was really in a state of mind like, gosh dang, man, I love AMD, and I was about to just fully commit to that. Well, if AMD doesn't have it, then I clearly don't need it, kind of attitude. And like, I can get pretty stubborn, like I can. And I know that bleeds through on my content, and then I also change my mind. You know, I'm human, and I'm a consumer, and I try not to completely block myself off from other things, because I don't want to just you know, confine myself to one little box. Like I don't. But I mean, the numbers don't lie. When I cover the AMD products, people show up and watch that content. When I cover the Nvidia products, they don't show up as often unless I do like some kind of clickbait title or something like that, and that sucks, man, because that's not the way I want to represent the Nvidia brand. Like I don't want to have to like throw shade at it all the time, but they kind of deserve it. They really do. You know, these ridiculous prices, cutting down on the specs of their GPUs, just everything that Nvidia does really just feels scummy. It really does, because if you've got $500 for a GPU, and you've got an overwhelming amount of people, you know, influencing you towards the Nvidia brand, you've got $500 just to get a 4070. You're like, oh my gosh, man, I gotta go get a loan, or I gotta go get some money somehow, or I gotta save longer. And then you save up and you spend your money on this GPU, and then you find yourself a couple years later having to make significant sacrifices just to play your games. And that sucks, man. That absolutely freaking sucks when you buy something like I did with the 3080, man. And that's why I probably go against Nvidia a little more than I probably should. But when I've got 80% more people, more new viewers coming to the channel for these videos, like it's something that, like, obviously you know, the 20% of you guys that are part of the channel and support the channel, and you guys come and watch that, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. But the 80% that comes in and they watch these videos, and maybe that's the first time they've seen my channel, and this is the first video they've seen, they're getting that message freshly. And I probably do overdo it a little bit, but at the end of the day, man, if I'm only getting like a couple thousand views on these videos, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And if it's selling and it's working and people are watching it, in my opinion, I don't think like I don't feel like it's a good thing to quit that. But I mean, if you're one of the people that like come back and you're like, oh man, you're saying the same thing over and over and over again. Like I get that, dude. I get that can get annoying for you, but man, some of this stuff just needs to be said. And when you're happy, like I am with my AMD purchase, and you can see the differences, and nobody else is out there like really going into detail trying to warn people about things. Like you've got people out there that are like just so starstruck for Nvidia, and it's like, come on, my friends, man, like seriously, you're absolutely getting ripped off every time you buy one of these Nvidia cards when you could have just got an AMD card, and I think you would have been probably just as happy as you would have with the Nvidia card. And I mean, like, every new generation of card is going to be better than the last generation of card, no matter what. Doesn't matter which one you go with. If you go with Nvidia, it's obviously going to be better than the last, 70 series or whatever that you got. And if you go AMD, it's definitely going to be better than the 70 series that you had last time. So either way, you're getting an upgrade. And that's probably the one thing that you should know. In my opinion, for the money spent, you get more VRAM on AMD. You get a more powerful in rasterization, and you do get to play around with ray tracing and all of that stuff. There are some games that perform very well on AMD and ray tracing, like Resident Evil 4 and some of them other games. They run just fine on an AMD GPU, and they give you incredible visual quality. So I don't 100% think that like Nvidia is just the top ray tracing. There are games that are clearly optimized to run better on Nvidia, and they do. So and it's not many. There's not a lot of them. There's not enough to justify, in my opinion, buying a mid-tier card from Nvidia for ray tracing, because it's just you can't really use ray tracing that well on a 4070 or 7800 XT. It's not a good enough experience to really be like, yeah, man, that's great, unless you want to play it. I mean, on the box for the 4070 Ti and 7800 XT, it should say ray tracing in photo mode. I'm serious, man. It should say ray tracing in photo mode. So, all right, my friends, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know I just kind of went on some weird little tangent, but hey, whatever. I do this all the time. Probably make another video like this tomorrow and the day after, and like whatever. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.